Nelson Reyes.
Thank you for taking the time to give me this opportunity. This book, I understand, says things that it's hard for me to accept. One of the things the book here says, I speak louder, but not loud enough for Dad to hear in case he's somewhere near the door to the office. I like to call me Lily, please, Lily, go. MacArthur is my name, with whose word a weight is lifted off my chest. I don't understand how, instead of having this book that should be removed, why not have books like this about Dr. Seuss? And some of the things that I read here about Dr. Seuss, one says, I did have a mother. She said the baby bird. I know I did. I have to find her. We understand as children growing up that we have a mom and a dad. I'm still puzzled. Why is it that the courts remove the Bible out of the school? It is important that instead of taking the Bible to school, why not we bring the Bible back into the school and take this book out? There's a saying, and I'll translate in Spanish. I believe that first let me say it in Spanish. El pecado de la homosexualidad va a destruir este país. That means the sin of homosexuality would destroy this country. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Gabriella Clark. I find lawyers for detransitioners. And never has a detransitioner ever said to me, I wish I had less sexual function. I wish that I still had my scars. I wish I was still deformed by mutilation, by a doctor, by a lie. This book is a road map to that nightmare. There is WPATH information in here talking about Tanner Stage 2. Do you know any middle schooler that knows what Tanner Stage 2 is? I don't. You're introducing this nightmare to your children. And when they find me later, I'm going to remind them how it got here, how this happened. I'm going to be there as a historian to take note. Half the detransitioners in this country I found lawyers for. You do not want this life. You do not want this problem. Get this book out of your schools. Get it out of your district. Get it out of Texas, period. You don't need this. I teach parents how to bring their children back from social transitioning, just like I did for my own daughter. She is healthy. She is happy, completely and fully intact, never medicated. She is free to decide for herself what she wants for her life, without anybody else sticking their nose in her business, without anybody else giving her ideas, not even me. And I can tell you, she's my daughter, so I can't tell her nothing. She does what she wants to do. She wants to live free.
All right.
Emily Schmidt.
Hi, I'd like to start off by thanking y'all for y'all's time. My name is Emily Schmidt. I am 25. I grew up not too far from here and graduated from PNG ISD. As a child, I was groomed to be trans. My school had a huge part in this. Media similar to the book Lily and Duncan led me into having gender dysphoria at 14 years old. Soon, my whole life became surrounded by trans everything. This made me believe that my body was wrong and needed fixing with surgeries and hormones. All I ever really needed was for someone to tell me that it is okay to be a tomboy. but instead I was walked down a path of suicidal ideations and anxiety due to media like this book that you have available to 7th graders. I am here to ask you, why do you want to teach children that their bodies are wrong? Why do you want to teach children that self-hatred is good? Why do you want to teach children that they need to chop off healthy body parts in order to find true happiness? And why did people like you tell me as a little girl that I needed to self-harm in order to be truly happy?
Able Garcia.
Hello, Connor ISD. Before I speak, I'd like to mention to Ms. Walker I am a detransitioner, and I would like to say she is wrong. She is welcome to talk to me about all the damages done to me by this transgender ideology. But now I will begin. My name is Able Garcia, and I am a detransitioner. I am here to talk about Lily and Duncan, a book y'all have approved for your students. I took the liberty to read the entire book, and I am disappointed to know that y'all have approved this book for kids. This book teaches students nothing but to hate themselves, their bodies, and to hate anyone who disagrees with their transgender ideology. I speak from my personal experience as a detransitioner. Gender-affirming care did not save me. It harmed me and has caused lifelong consequences because I trusted so-called medical professionals. While I transitioned as an adult, I am currently dealing with genital atrophy, possible sterilization, muscle tremors, just to name a few side effects. If I, as an adult, am dealing with these side effects, I have no hope for these students who transition as minors. Now, I'd like to quote the book, Lily and Duncan, from page 35. Quote, "After signing up for a computer, I researched hormone blockers. Again, I need to be certain about the right time to start them. There's something called Tanner stage 2. That's when my boy parts start growing, when hair starts growing down there, when all things I don't want to be happen start happening. That's when I'm supposed to start the hormone blockers. That means I should be starting them now. It's not like I'm asking for estrogen or surgery yet." End of quote. Tanner stage 2 is a very extremely important stage in puberty. Now I quote Dr. Marcy Bowers, the president of WPATH, and a male to female transgender doctor. "Every single child who has truly blocked at Tanner stage 2, ages 9 to 11, has never experienced orgasm." Dr. Bauer essentially admits that children who go through this process are sterilized, and yet the book still puts an emphasis on the main character getting puberty blockers before this stage starts. I'm here to ask for an explanation to why the school board approved this book.
Thank you. Any further questions?
Ms. Knuckles, is it the danger aspect of it? You mentioned that's an excerpt out of the book relative to hormone therapy, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And that excerpt out of the book is what you render the entire book to be a dangerous book. I don't want to put words in your mouth.
There are many excerpts in here, and I have them tabbed, and I'm happy to read them to you if you would like to take the time.
This is my question. So do you recognize that we have a crap load of books in our library, excuse my French, and speak about premarital sex as excerpts in a book?
That is not my concern at this time,
No,
and
no,
premarital
no.
sex is not illegal, sir.
It's not illegal, but you spoke about morality and community values. Yeah, you did. Your
Morality
argument
in
you
that
did.
we could be on the wrong side of the of history
I'm saying, do you
and harming
think
children.
premarital sex is dangerous and to our community, our kids specifically?
I'm not really here to discuss that, sir.
But you're here to discuss hormone therapy.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, I'll just speak as opposed to asking you questions. It doesn't seem like I'm gonna get an answer. We got a lot of books with excerpts in them about hate. We got a lot of books with excerpts in them about abortions. We got a lot of books with excerpts about pride. All of these sins and values and morals and so forth are in contrary to what you spoke on as far as the community, quote-unquote, community values. And I would just say, this is much more prevalent in our community and a danger to our kids than what you're pulling out of this excerpt and deeming this book to be.
With all due, may I respond, sir?
Well, you kind of didn't want to respond, so I mean.
Well, I didn't want to respond about premarital sex.
Which is irrelevant.
But in all due respect, our our state attorney did issue an opinion calling this child abuse. Considering that it's considered self-harm, I think it's different.
Understood. So, well, again, my question is, most of the arguments that I'm hearing seemingly imply that if a book has an excerpt about these things, that the school district is either condoning it, promoting it, advocating it. It's almost as if, though, when I hear folks speak, that we're performing these surgeries in some lab on one of our campuses. Someone mentioned one time about abortion and some of these other, this is not prevalent on CISD campuses, right? For us to make almost like you allude to the fact that we're promoting and having these kids go out and do these things because it's an excerpt in a book, and that by itself is causing these kids to go out and want to go do these things, know?
May I respond?
And it's almost absurd when I hear some of the arguments that were made today, right? And then, it's like, if you like this book, you give this book so much credit. And by the way, when we bring books, 9 copies of this book in our library, when we bring books like this to this such grave magnitude, it only intensifies folks want to go out and read the book. Y'all just make it famous.
I hope all parents will pick up this book and read it cover to cover, sir.
We continue to cloud these things and morality and all this other good stuff to justify our own agendas and our own values and impress them on other folks, right?
No, sir, this is a state law.
When we keep clouding everything around legality, if it was illegal, it'd be out of our libraries. If I was facing, and I don't want anybody to, assume the role of my attorney and keep me out of danger and harm's way relative to legality. If I'm doing something illegal, don't forewarn me. Just go report it, right? Because that threat is just idle. We know that this book is not an illegal book, right? For you to say because it has an excerpt in it about hormone therapy, it makes it illegal and we're promoting illegal activities, is also extremely weak. I won't even say weak, it's ludicrous.
May I respond?
Right? Yeah, you can respond.
I think we both know that because...
No, I don't. Don't assume I know.
I'm sorry then. I'm sorry that I said that. I believe that the reason why this book that our county attorney, Brett Ligon, has not brought this book to your office is because, or filed charges, is because there is a law that says that if there's any educational anything in it, which there is bullying in this book, and I can see how that could be helpful, and that is why it hasn't been brought to your attention. The law does not help in that way, but there is still activity in this book, and maybe he can. Like I could go and maybe I should bring this to his attention.
Yeah.
But I still see that encouraging children to seek out medical interventions that are illegal in our state.
You see the terminology, encouraging, because the book has an excerpt about that, we're encouraging it.
It's a how-to.
It's a how-to.
So if it's a how-to book now all of a sudden, it's amazing how we're just making huge leaps relative to a book.
And sir, there are resources in the back as well that help the child to learn more.
Thank you, Ms. Nutter.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I was actually glad you mentioned that, because I think the difference is that this book encourages an illegal act, and the other issues that you mentioned, they don't encourage kidnap. Like, you would never encourage someone to kidnap somebody. You would never encourage somebody to cause harm. I think that's the definition, is that this book is encouraging an illegal activity, and the other books that we may have, we would never encourage an illegal activity.
Ms. Nelson, I hear exactly what you're saying. I guess we fundamentally disagree, that I don't believe this book encourages the actions that you think it encourages.
The other thing is this isn't a letter, it's the opinion from the Attorney General. This is an opinion from him. He's offering a legal opinion based on what and I did read through this, that they're saying insurance companies don't cover this. This causes irreparable damage. These are things that have not been studied. This is seriously harmful to consider and to go through, and then they can't function. They can't some of them have to use catheters and all sorts of things that happen to them from doing these processes. And the difference with this book is it's affirming. It's affirming this child in this character. It's affirming his desire. And he actually believes that by doing this, he's going to feel the person that he's wanting to be. And to me, that's harmful, because we're sharing with our students, no matter what their age, whether it's in elementary, intermediate, junior high, whatever, we're sharing with them something that we're saying this is affirming to them. And so, to me, that's concern, and that's why I asked you about the concern over it being harmful.
Everybody's had your chance to say anything that you'd like to say before we get to that point. That's okay. I don't want anybody to feel like you didn't get your chance, so.
So are we moving into discussion then?
Yes, we
Okay.
move into discussion. So this is your opportunity, and we can move person to person and give everybody a chance to say what they want to say, and then we can
Don't we
proceed
do
with the
that
motion.
with the motion? All right, whatever, however you.
Yeah. So, Ms. Odenweiler, you're welcome to go ahead if you'd like to share.
Love is sometimes hard, and love can be tough at times. And so, as we experienced in this book, as we read through it, we saw that unfolding. But when we present something in our libraries, sometimes we have to make a hard decision, and we have to evaluate, while there may be good content, if there's something harmful in it, we are affirming to these children when they read this book that when they feel that they're not in the right body, we're affirming it by this book being in their hands or accessible by them. And that is a concern to me. To me, that is definitely in violation of our new policy, where it says in EFB protection from inappropriate material under number 3, it states, it is an offense to distribute such material in violation of the penal code, and no library material shall be used if it contains content that can meet the harmful material standard. And this is in that alignment, and that is a concern to me. The other concern is that just because we in our ages can't evaluate what a 12-year-old or a 10-year-old or a 15-year-old, how their mind works, does not mean, because we see it differently, that we can't recognize the standard that a brain is not fully formulated until they're into their 20s in most cases. And so we're allowing them to have something and affirming something that can do great harm to them. There's no going back on it, and this very much concerns me.
All right, thank you. Anybody else?
And one last thing.
Sorry.
It isn't that the objection is it's uncomfortable. That isn't the objection. The objection is that it's harmful.
I'll speak to something. What I'm hearing a lot is feelings, how people feel, how the book made them feel, what it appeared to be doing, what it encourages. All this is very subjective, extremely subjective, and based on the individual person. It's a fiction book. That just is what it is. And we talk about things that's harmful in books. I mean, I'm going to sound very sarcastic here, but I was looking up Rapunzel. That's kidnapping 101. That's harmful. I don't see you guys want to kick that off the shelf. I was looking up Rumpelstiltskin. Kidnapping. Very harmful to kids. Nobody's up here yelling and complaining about how harmful that is. I was looking up Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Breaking and entering and stealing. Harmful to kids.
These are fairy tales.
All fiction. All
Fairy
fiction
tales.
books. You can call this a fairy tale if you so choose. I'm saying you're taking a book and you're taking that book and you're making it a reality, and as if though we're promoting things that we're not. And you're trying to broad brush the whole district based on an excerpt out of one book. I hear words like indoctrination. I hear words like we're encouraging, or we're putting kids in harm's way. I think it's all silly. I have 3 kids of my own. If they picked up this book and read it, do y'all think it would pose any type of damage or harm to my kids whatsoever? None whatsoever. None whatsoever. So when we get these folks show up and everyone's all in outrage over something like this is just personal agendas folks trying to push and impress on everyone, right? Let the kids read. You know, I think a lot of us would be much better off if we got an opportunity to read and explore and understand a different demographic than what we're accustomed to, right? I keep hearing community values, right? What is community values? Conservative Christian values, white values? What does that mean, right? Your values don't necessarily impart on mine, all right? So, hey, what's the code words we're using? You see what I'm saying? That in and of itself, see how you have such outrage when you say things that are shocking? That's how this shock value you guys try to create with this book when you're saying hormone therapy and castrating kids, and that's what the board is up to doing. It's all foolishness. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Anybody else have anything?